Habeas corpus is a fundamental legal principle that protects individuals from unlawful detention. It is a cornerstone of liberty and a safeguard against tyranny. The term habeas corpus is Latin for "you shall have the body." It refers to a legal action that allows a person to challenge their detention by the government. Through a writ of habeas corpus, a court can order the government to bring a detainee before a judge and justify their imprisonment. The principle of habeas corpus dates back centuries and is enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. The Founding Fathers recognized the importance of habeas corpus in safeguarding individual liberty and ensuring that the government does not have unchecked power to detain people arbitrarily. Habeas corpus provides a vital check on government authority and ensures that no one is imprisoned without due process of law. At its core, habeas corpus is a mechanism for judicial review of executive detention. It allows courts to scrutinize the legality of a person's imprisonment and ensure that it complies with the law. By requiring the government to justify its actions, habeas corpus helps prevent wrongful imprisonment and ensures that individuals are not deprived of their liberty without a legitimate reason. The right to habeas corpus is not absolute, and there are limited circumstances under which it can be suspended. However, any suspension of habeas corpus raises serious concerns about the erosion of civil liberties and the potential for government overreach. The history of habeas corpus in the United States is a testament to its enduring importance in protecting individual rights and limiting the power of the state. The history of habeas corpus in the United States is intertwined with the nation's ongoing struggle to balance individual liberty with national security. From the earliest days of the Republic, the writ of habeas corpus has served as a bulwark against arbitrary detention and a symbol of the rule of law. The U.S. Constitution explicitly recognizes the right to habeas corpus in Article 1, Section 9, which states that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended, unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. This provision highlights the importance of habeas corpus, while also acknowledging that there may be extreme circumstances in which its suspension is necessary. Throughout American history, there have been several instances where habeas corpus has been suspended. One of the most notable examples occurred during the Civil War, when President Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus in certain areas to quell Confederate sympathizers and maintain order. Similarly, during World War II, President Franklin D. Roosevelt authorized the internment of Japanese Americans, a controversial policy that resulted in the suspension of habeas corpus for thousands of individuals. These historical examples illustrate the tension between protecting individual rights and safeguarding national security. While the suspension of habeas corpus may seem justified in times of crisis, it is essential to remember that such actions can have a profound impact on civil liberties. The erosion of habeas corpus can create a slippery slope toward authoritarianism and undermine the very foundations of a free society. The debate over habeas corpus continues to this day, particularly in the context of the War on Terror. Following the September 11th attacks, the U.S. government detained individuals suspected of terrorism at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and other locations around the world. The legal status of these detainees and their access to habeas corpus rights became a subject of intense legal and political debate. The U.S. Constitution provides limited guidance on when habeas corpus can be suspended, stating only that it can be done when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. This vague language has led to debate and interpretation over the centuries, with varying opinions on the scope of the suspension power. Some argue for a narrow interpretation of the suspension clause, limiting it to situations where the court system is physically unable to function due to an ongoing rebellion or invasion. Others support a broader interpretation, arguing that the government can suspend habeas corpus whenever it deems it necessary to protect national security, even in the absence of a traditional armed conflict. The decision to suspend habeas corpus is a grave one, with significant implications for individual rights and the rule of law. It is essential that any such decision be made through a clear and transparent process, with robust checks and balances to prevent abuse. Historically, the suspension of habeas corpus has often been accompanied by concerns about executive overreach and the erosion of civil liberties. When the government is empowered to detain individuals without due process, it creates a climate of fear and uncertainty, where innocent people can be caught in the crosshairs. The debate over habeas corpus ultimately boils down to a fundamental question: How much liberty are we willing to sacrifice in the name of security? It is a question that has no easy answers, and one that will continue to challenge policymakers and citizens alike. The tension between habeas corpus and national security is a persistent challenge in democratic societies. While it is essential to protect individual rights, governments also have a responsibility to ensure the safety and security of their citizens. Finding the right balance between these competing interests is an ongoing process, one that requires careful consideration and a commitment to upholding the rule of law. In the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, the United States grappled with these issues in a profound way. The Bush administration argued that the war on terror required new approaches to national security, including the detention of suspected terrorists without trial. This led to the establishment of the detention camp at Guantanamo Bay, where individuals captured in Afghanistan and elsewhere were held indefinitely without charges or access to courts. The use of indefinite detention without trial sparked widespread controversy, with critics arguing that it violated fundamental principles of due process and habeas corpus. The Supreme Court ultimately ruled in several cases that detainees at Guantanamo Bay had the right to challenge their detention in federal court, reaffirming the importance of habeas corpus even in times of national crisis. The debate over habeas corpus and national security highlights the fragile balance between liberty and security. While there may be times when it is necessary to restrict certain rights in the interest of public safety, it is crucial to do so in a way that is consistent with the Constitution and the rule of law. The writ of habeas corpus serves as a vital safeguard against tyranny, and a reminder that even in the face of perceived threats, the government is not above the law. It is a testament to the enduring power of individual liberty and a cornerstone of a just and equitable society.